Welcome to Judge My Round with Tom Brennan. Let's get started, Abby, by watching your video that you submitted. All I know so far is you want me to judge it as a hunter class, and we're going to take a look at it together. Here's our first impression. Oh, right off the bat, Gatwick, as I see in the title here, looks a little bright at the trot coming in. A little more relaxed now in the canter. He has a big, boundy, athletic-looking canter. Not your typical hunter canter, but very useful and strong-looking in an athletic way. A little off the mark at fence 1. Already on the left lead, he looks a touch more comfortable. Nice ride into the first line. Not a big jumping effort, sort of just stepped over it. Tiny little toss of the head, no big deal. Yeah, his right lead just isn't quite as balanced as his left. When I'm judging, I look for a horse that can be equally capable on both sides. Another head toss. He looks better here on the right lead. He's either relaxed a little bit or you've organized him better. Looks like that's probably the end of the course. Yep. So a nice round, really, for the adult amateurs. Maybe a green horse. He's turned out well. You're turned out well. I wouldn't mind a little bit longer show coat on you. But he's braided beautifully at obviously a cold-looking winter horse show. Stepped around the ring pretty nice. Jump 1 and jump 4 I think are going to keep you out of upper ribbons for me. But that score would land somewhere between 73 and 77 depending on how the class was developing around you. Now we'll get ready to break it down a little more. So Abby, it's time to take another look at your trip and see what can be done to get you a better score the next time. Let's get started. So again, I thought the entrance was a little bright, but I have the suspicion that's just a little bit him. Maybe he's a little younger. If we could mellow that out and have the presentation of that entrance be a little less equitation-y, I think that would be good. What I mean by that is maybe a little less elevated frame, a little more relaxed. Just makes you wonder when he comes in if it's too much horse. And then as soon as he canters, he really is a better relaxed frame that I like. First jump doesn't work out so well. That's a pretty significant pace change. Let's rewind and watch that again. And I'm going to pause on your way to it. I think what's happening here is the right lead isn't as balanced as the left, even though he tends to land right. And you end up over galloping a bit on that lead. And then as you get in the range of the jump, you end up having to back way down to fit in whatever distance you're seeing. I think if you could just ease up on the gallop on the right lead and find medium, that would be a better presentation, because right off the bat, we haven't even jumped a jump yet, and we've shown a pretty big pace change, just taking away from the smoothness of our round. So if we hit play and watch him jump that jump again, it's a little close, and then he immediately changes his lead. As you get to the corner, I'm going to pause that again and talk about it. The lead change is very quick. He does it well and cleanly, but I think your horse could learn to canter away from the jump longer before changing his lead, and that would give you a more relaxed presentation as a hunter. The land and immediately swap scenario ends up tossing their heads up often, and it's not as attractive a image for the judge to watch. Let's continue. As we come to jump 2, coming around the turn, This is a great ride. He just happens to step over it. It's just not that difficult for him. The jump is small for him, and he really is a canter stride. As he jumps out of the line, though, it's much better. So we'll rewind that again. And I want you to realize there's not a lot you should be doing here. He just hasn't found the job very difficult, and that's a good thing. But we'll compare this jump, the vertical. See how low his belly is there? It's just not that impressive. He hasn't had to work very hard, but when he gets to the oxer, he puts in a much better effort. And when we look at that jump, we see there's a really good jump in there. We want to try to create that more often. So when we come to jump 4, the same thing happens as jump 1. You gallop past the gate, and then you end up having to really back off, and it actually is a worse jumping effort than jump 1. Let's rewind and do that one more time. I'm going to pause you here before you get to it, because I really want you to watch his legs. So yes, there's a pace change, and it's not the best distance, but the reason that that's a problem is because in the air of jump 4, he can't get his legs up out of the way. They end up coming off the ground slowly, almost after his head, neck, and shoulder have taken off. And the timing just doesn't work out. He has a slow rhythm with his legs anyways, so this sort of presentation of a jump doesn't do you any favors. And this is really where you get penalized in your score. So we'll hit play again. And see those legs are just a little late. It almost looks like a speed bump rather than another nice athletic stride. He does toss his head again after the 2 stride. But it's not offensive to me at this point in this division. But I would take any efforts you can with your trainer and your vet to reduce his tendency of doing that for showing. The last line's really your best line. And again, he changes that lead rather quickly, and you can see his head come up for it. He's a good lead changer, but I'd like him to just wait a little longer before he does it. Abby, now that we've gone through your video in a little more detail, I think I've already answered your first 2 questions. I do want to spend a little bit of time on your third question though. You asked whether the course seemed rushed. I don't think the course does seem rushed, but I do think what you're feeling is what I was talking about with the over-galloping the ends. You're trying to keep your horse in front of you and do the right thing, and I would always rather see someone make mistakes going forward than not, especially on a green horse. However, it's going to get more comfortable and not feel so rushed when you can find a consistent medium forward canter that doesn't have you surging forward and then reining it back so abruptly before the jumps. Getting outside is sure to help a lot. Thanks so much for your submission. I hope you found this helpful, and I really appreciate the opportunity to judge your round.